Welcome, everybody, to We the People of Eastern Kentucky. We really appreciate you all tuning in. Sorry about getting started a little bit later on. Good old technical delays and stuff like that, but we got it worked out now. So we got a good gentleman on tonight as a special guest, and we're going to talk a little bit about him. But first of all, we want to thank you all for the response that we're getting on a lot of our episodes out there. We want to encourage you to go into Facebook, We the People of Eastern Kentucky, and then also we're on YouTube as well. We have a channel there, so go in there and check us out for not only tonight, but also episodes in the past. A lot of good information. Our focus is on economic development, community awareness, and also political impact. So please check out those episodes and things. And we'll have my little co-host here is going to talk about sponsors. Is that right?
This is just little old me. We're going to talk about the sponsors. We have some new sponsors as well as the ones that are always on the left side of the screen. Mm-hmm. We have SL1 Construction is one of our new sponsors. We also put out a thing on Appalachia Insider the other day. We're honored and happy to have Mi Hacienda Mexican Bar and Grill as one of our new sponsors.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, we got a special guest with us tonight, and I had a great opportunity to go and share in Hazard, Kentucky a few weeks ago about what we're doing here with We the People of Eastern Kentucky podcast, and then also some of the other things that BML Business Alliance, which is my company that we do as far as working with businesses. And a great opportunity down there at AR8 to be able to talk to a lot of people in the Hazard community. And there was a gentleman that really impressed me, and a great guy, and has got a lot of insight and a lot of good things. He's worked in education and things where I have too, so we kind of hit a kindred spirit there. But tonight we're going to have Dee Parker come here and share a little bit about what he's done in the Hazard area, things of that nature, some of the people that he's worked with down there. But he's got a successful consulting business and working with some things down there and a lot of agencies. So without further ado, we want to welcome Dee tonight, and he's going to share with you some of his background maybe, and then also some of the things he's getting into and his vision and mission in the future. So with that, Dee, thanks so much for being with us tonight, and we're going to turn it kind of over to you to give us a little background, where you're from, and if you're an old Kentucky boy or you're a transplant or something like that, or how in the world did you end up in Eastern Kentucky?
All right. Well, thank you, Terry, and thank you to We the People of Eastern Kentucky's podcast. All right, I ended up here almost 12 years ago now.
Wow.
My wife is originally from Eastern Kentucky, and that's the reason why I'm here. Fell in love with the mountains. I fell in love with everybody here. I'm originally from Kentucky. Lexington is where I was born.
Okay.
Also, so I made my way here to Eastern Kentucky, and I don't plan on leaving nowhere soon.
So when we got you here, we captured you, huh?
Just fell in love with the region, and the rest just speaks for itself.
There you go. Well, it doesn't hurt that you had Mama along with you there or whatever, to kind of make it the pleasurable.
Yeah, I mean, my kids, my wife, so my family, they're also, there's some great people, and I have no complaints. I mean, I'm sure I could find something to complain about, but it won't do no good.
So you said you're originally from Fayette County. I used to live down in, you know where Shenandoah is, down near Alumni?
Well, yeah, I sure do. I used to live not too far away from there, on the other side of Shenandoah.
Yeah. Tate's Creek?
I lived there for several years, and yes, our oldest son, he actually went to Tate's Creek High School.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And Yeah. And I spent a lot of my childhood in Versailles, Kentucky also.
Oh, okay.
That's where my grandmother and my family and stuff are from also.
Okay, yeah. My brother lived for a long time in Versailles. He actually just recently moved, but yeah, he was in Versailles for 5 or 6 years. So it's a beautiful area down there.
It sure is, I'll tell you. So how in the world did you get to Hazard?
That's my wife. My wife, she's originally from Knott County.
Oh, okay.
And, we wanted to be somewhere a little more, a little bit more city, still rural. So Hazard was the ideal spot for us.
Okay.
We're not that far away from everything, but yet everything is still far away.
Yeah.
And we got that peace and quiet that we wanted. So, like I said, I don't have any complaints. I'm proud to be here. In Eastern Kentucky, I'm proud to tell people this is where I live and where I'm from.
Right.
I've been here long enough, so I'm from here now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the old saying is you're a part of the clan. You don't break into it. Everybody gets kind of pulled into it, but once you're in there, you're a part of it. Dee, you had mentioned that you've been down Hazard about 12 years. What have you been doing down there? What have you been involved with? And just tell us a little bit about some of the programs and things that you've done down there in Hazard.
Okay, let's see. Where do I start? I try to be as active as I can in my community because I love my community and I love to see it grow. I worked at Hazard Community Technical College for several years as the coordinator of cultural diversity. While I was there, I created the BILPOC Student Union, Black, Indigenous, Latinx People of Color Student Union, and bridged that over into an inner circle leadership program for young men. Mentoring, educating, helping these young men have a seamless pipeline to post-secondary education. Lead by example is what I say. If I tell these young people to elevate, I want them to see me elevating along with them.
Right.
So that was the start of the journey of something that took off in ways that I couldn't even imagine. Just being that positive role model, a positive figure in some of these young men's lives has made a world of difference. Some of my young leaders, is what I call them, have went off to four-year universities and are doing great things. And I couldn't be more proud of them. That was my reward, is seeing these young people's eyes light up and the lights go off in their head, like, hey, let's do this. Let's make something happen. Let's do something positive for our communities. And I love it. And it's been infectious. And it's spread to not just the young men I was working with, but also more for the younger people in our community came out to show up and really are starting to let their voices be heard. And like I said before, I couldn't be more proud of the young people that we do have here.
Yeah, that was the thing that was impressive to me when we met, was the fact that education about how, high school students, there's a lot of struggles they go through and things, but they really need that direction. They really need that mentorship. And I know for you to be able to do that and to serve as a mentor, were there people in your background or that had an influence to make you want to head this direction with your career and to work with young people and to get them into post-secondary schools?
Yes, that was one of my big things, is making sure that all of our young people had the opportunity to obtain a post-secondary education. Because I know what it's like to not have an education, trying to make it in today's society, and it's virtually impossible to really get where you need to be at without some kind of formal education. And I tell my young leaders all the time, I'm like, you need to sit down and do right in class and pay attention, because you're trying to get that degree that teacher already has. They're like, yeah, you're right. And they seem to listen to me, and that's a shocker. They listen to me.
Now, Dee, we had some wonderful ladies from the CASA organization. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, on here just a while back, And one of the things that we discussed during the interview was the fact that there is a lack of, in this area, but not even just in this area, across the United States, there seems to be, in the newer generation, a lack of male role models and male leaders. So what kind of brought you into that, deciding to come into that position to start leading young men?
Well, the thing is, it's not what we choose in life. I've come to find out it's the path that God chooses for us. I just came in just to want to make a difference, make a positive impact. And these young men kind of just came to me, and I was like, all right, well, let's do something with this. What do y'all want to do? It's asking these young people, like, what do you want to do? Sitting down and talking with them instead of talking at them, getting a better understanding on who they are. That was the key. And next thing you know, it led out to mentorship. I still get calls now from a few of my young leaders that have went off and done some really great things. They'll reach out and just be like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I know what's going on with you, and we'll talk through some issues together, and I'll come up with some solutions and ask them, what kind of solutions do y'all see?
I think there's
I let them pretty much drive.
I think there's a real starvation across the nation right now. I mean, I saw a statistic a while back. I'm not sure if it's accurate, but a statistic a while back that said a lot of young men will reach the age of 20 years old without anybody ever even looking at them and saying, you have value or good job.
Yeah.
Yes. That was one of the things I looked at also a while back, especially with young men not having that positive influence in their lives. That can lead to all kinds of stuff that we really don't want. So I made it my mission to make sure that whatever I do is positive. And even if I'm out in the community, by myself, I still uphold myself in a certain stature to make sure that if somebody sees me out, they know that I'm still doing the right thing. And that's what I try to teach to my young men. My uncle was my role model growing up, and he always taught me to carry yourself properly. And that's what I try to teach my young men also, because there is a lack of male role models.
Yeah.
Not just here in our region, but nationwide.
Yeah.
And I know that, so I'm trying my best to put a dent in that in any way that I can.
Now, you mentioned working in the area of BIPOC. As you know, it's well known that this area of Eastern Kentucky isn't a very diverse area. Have you found that there's been a lot of openness and acceptance to that here?
Actually, yeah, and I laugh about that. When they ask me that all the time about diversity and stuff in Eastern Kentucky, I'm like, we are one of the most diverse regions in Kentucky as far as our Appalachian region, the way we talk, the way we cook our food, our people. And you hear me saying ours because we all a part of this.
Right.
But as far as the BIPOC community members go, there's not a whole lot here, but we are here, and we all coexist together, and we try to make things.
So basically, what you're saying is that this Appalachian region is its own cultural diversity.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
It's really great. A while back, I was in New York, and somebody asked me where I was from, and I told them Eastern Kentucky, right? They looked at me all funny, and they was like, well, you don't sound like it. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to sound?
Yeah.
It threw me off. I'm like, how am I supposed to sound? And, of course, people were interested to know, about black people in Eastern Kentucky. It's like, we didn't think there was any black people there. I'm like, yeah, we're there. I'm like, Eastern Kentucky is mixed with all kinds of people. We're all here, and we all are trying to do something that is going to be impactful for our communities. Some of us are all on the same path to growth and development, and some people, they are just stuck in their ways and don't want to do anything. But at the end of the day, we all come together and help each other out.
That's good. One of the things that hit me, D, is when you talked about a few minutes ago a calling. we look at clergymen and all that kind of stuff. They have callings in their lives to have flocks or lead flocks and be the shepherd to people. And I really have a sense that the good Lord above has a calling for everybody, and it was one of the things that impressed me so much about you when we got together is the fact that you take it that seriously. You feel that this is your place in life, that God's called you to do that, and you're going to go out there and pursue it. And there's Eastern Kentucky and things, and that goes back to our program here. We want people to know that there is diversity. We are very clannish here in Eastern Kentucky. We have a lot of implants for people. We're in the coal industry years ago. We have a lot of farmers too that come in from Ireland and all that kind of deal, and it's so neat to see the melting pot and how everything works together. And much like Cody said right there, it's a situation to where we kind of form our own group, our own culture, and it don't matter, be black, white, brown, whatever. We all work together, and we see that involvement in that work, and we know that good things can happen from that. And I think not only can we be a leader in that sense to Kentucky and the Commonwealth here, but much like you all were discussing earlier, it can be an impact for our nation.
Yes, Terry. That's true. I'm part of several coalitions throughout Kentucky, part of several boards and everything, and we talk about how rich our diversity is here in Eastern Kentucky when it comes to the people, when it comes to our culture, when it comes to helping each other out. Just an example of that, when we had our devastating floods here. I mean, those floods were devastating.
Yeah.
But what really got me was when we all was able to get out and do stuff, everybody, regardless of your affiliation politically or not, everybody came out to help everybody. We didn't care about any of that. We cared about making sure that our people was taken care of.
Yes.
And you don't find that anywhere else. We had people coming in from all over the place to come and help us, but our number one priority was like, once all of those people leave out, we're still going to be here. Yeah. We're still going to be helping our people out, and it has to stop. We all have came together to help each other, in times of need, in times of joy, and in times of sadness. You can't talk about Appalachia without talking about how we come together as Appalachians.
Dee, let's go ahead and touch on that. You mentioned that you were part of quite a few coalitions, board, and stuff like that. Let's touch on those a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're a part of? What are some initiatives that you're working on? Anything like that right now?
First, I'm the incoming president, 24-25 of our Hazard Rotary Club. Rotary has been really great at really being there to show up for our community. Yeah. And it's an honor to be part of our Hazard Rotary Club. From every one of our members to our past presidents and everybody else, it's been an honor to be a part of our Hazard Rotary Club.
You got a good bunch down there.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And they're all great people. I'm also a part of Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, as well as the Alliance for Appalachia. And what we're doing is we're looking at social equity, environmental justice, racial justice, of course, voting rights, making sure people got access to go vote. Voting is important. I tell all my young people all the time, you have to vote in every election. You never know if your vote's going to count or not. So get out and vote. Very passionate about voting. Very passionate about equality, social equity. When I talk about that, that's bringing everybody to the table, not leaving nobody outside. With social equity, that's our young people, our elderly people, just bringing them into the same room and having them talk and learn from each other. That's a few of the things that I do. And of course, there's boards, other boards here in Park. or like the Appalachian Art Alliance. I'm on their board as well. That's bringing cultural events to Hazard. And the Southeast Kentucky African American Cultural Center and Museum that we have here in Hazard. It's bringing more culture. It's showing that, we are really moving forward here in Eastern Kentucky. We have no plans of stopping.
D, let's talk about. You mentioned equity, and then you mentioned equality. Let's talk about what are your perspectives on the difference and the similarities between equity and equality, and which one do you think should prevail in the lead there?
Well, equity is great. Don't get me wrong, but equality is different. Like,
I agree.
Say there's a baseball game and there's people trying to watch the ball game over a fence. This is a meme I saw a while back.
Yeah, I've seen
so
it.
It kind of resonate with me. So people standing on crates, right? You got one tall guy on one crate, medium guy on two crates, and a little short guy on three crates, right? Well, you knock that fence down, they don't need crates at all. That's equality for all. So that's the difference between equity and equality. That's what we're trying to do here in Appalachia. We're trying to knock down these barriers, knock down these fences to make sure that there is equality for all and not just focusing on the equity lens.
That's good. If you were to look back, D, because we all kind of have success stories or whatever, could you share with us tonight maybe one of the things that kind of gets at your heart as far as a success story and you working and mentoring with young people and things of that nature? Is there one that kind of stands out that you'd like to share with the audience tonight that's meant a great deal to you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
I know you got a lot of them.
This one right here really got me. One of my high schoolers, he wasn't being challenged enough. So they was doing some engineering testing. So he decided to take the test, and he scored second highest in the state. And that right there just done it for me. I get a call from the school. I left from the college, went to the school to see what's going on. They told me that, and I didn't know what to do. And me and him talked afterwards, and it was when we went on a tour at Berea College, and he was noticing the pendulum at Berea College. He was more interested in how does this pendulum work? What makes it tick? And that's the engineering mindset right there. And I'm like, okay. So when he took that test and scored second highest in the state,
wow.
If I could, I would have did a backflip. But the whole room probably would have shook. But I would have did one.
That's awesome. Sometimes we don't. Our kids and stuff like that need somebody to pull it out of them, I guess, for them to be successes in life. I know I do a lot in community theater, and I always tell a story about one young girl. I'm not going to mention her name, and I don't want to embarrass her to death, because when she came to an audition, I always had a thing to where if you audition for a show of mine, you're going to get in it. I don't care. And she came and auditioned, and she couldn't hardly speak a word. But now she's a psychologist working for one of the agencies here in Eastern Kentucky. She came back home, and she felt good enough about how she'd grown and wanted to get into that field, and felt that we had a lot of other young people out there that she wanted to encourage. So when I look back, I always look at her, and it's a blessing to me to be able to see that what we share a little bit of us kind of goes on down the road, that they'll hopefully share that with someone else as well.
That's the whole concept of each one teach one.
Yeah. I like that.
You may hear me say quite a bit. I tell everybody it's all small steps to a giant. And they look at me and they start to really grasp that everything is small steps to a giant. Like you mentioned before, the young lady who decided to come back home and go into psychology. We don't know the impacts that we're making on these young people's lives until later on. So while I try to sow those seeds of positivity, it's up to each individual to let those seeds grow. And they are growing, I tell you. And I just sat back. That's a reward for me, is to watch them grow and to step into their light and to step into their voice and be who they are. I mean, that's all I need, you know, and I'm glad to be a part of this journey.
Yeah.
D, what are some seeds that you've so to speak seen sprout? I mean, what are some things going on in Hazard that you're proud to see that you think are positive, encouraging events coming in, or positive, encouraging outcomes that you think are
so
improving?
We're going to start it with that. I'm glad you asked that. Yes, I'm glad you asked that. Our Juneteenth events that we have here in Hazard. You know, Juneteenth was federally recognized a couple years ago, but some of my family members, one half of my family, have been celebrating Juneteenth all my life. Another half of my family celebrated August 8th all my life. Those were Independence Days for the people that were enslaved in Galveston, Texas. But we have those events here in Eastern Kentucky now. And seeing the people coming up and wanting to get that knowledge and that education, that's showing that people are more open-minded when it comes to things and more accepting, and they want to know these things, and they question why they wasn't taught these things in schools. Those are just a few little seeds that's been planted, and also planting those seeds in these young people's heads about education and how education can open up so many doors. But it's up to you to walk through those doors. You know, nobody is going to hold your hand and pull you through them. You have to walk through those doors yourself. It's just those seeds like that, and watching them nurture it, water them, and letting them grow is a blessing. One of my other young leaders, a young lady, she recently graduated from HCTC, and she's going off to another university to get her bachelor's degree. And hear her on stage, and she said my name several times. I got a little choked up. That little sand in my eyes, you know, it's what I say all the time, but she was like, you know, he really stayed on me about finishing, and said I was a big help to her. I didn't even realize that. I didn't know she was going to say anything like that. So it kind of took me by surprise, and it let me know that these young people are paying attention.
Yeah. You got some good people to work with, too, down there in Hazard. I know that the county judge exec, Scott Alexander, takes a pretty good lead in a lot of the stuff, and he works with a lot of the associations and all those down there. It seems like you guys are working in a very positive direction together, you know, under his leadership and working with you all and stuff. He's a pretty good old guy, isn't he?
Oh, yes, Scott. Judge Alexander, he's a great guy. I ain't got no complaints. When he sees you out, he'll stop and talk to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where he's at. You know, he makes time to come and talk with you and find out what's going on. And also another organization that I'm on the board with, the Housing Development Alliance.
Yeah.
It's really been helping build more affordable housing for people, and really helping a lot of our flood survivors when it comes to them obtaining homes. And I mean, everybody in our community that I'll come in contact with, that I'll work with, they are great people.
That was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you know, go ahead.
That was one of the things that I actually wanted to bring up since you mentioned the flood. You know, there was a complete and utter tragedy, and you hate to see that happen to anybody, but one of the great outcomes of it was that it spurred the Housing Initiative Alliance, and that it spurred the development of these affordable homes. One of the things that we are sorely lacking for here in Magoffin County is affordable housing. So, talk a little more about that if you don't care. Like what's how that's going and what you think about that.
All right, you know, affordable housing is it's not just state specific; it's nationwide. And I'm really grateful that we do have programs like the Housing Development Alliance here in Hazard. Over in Whitesburg, they have Homes Inc., I believe is what it's called, to help, you know, with these affordable housing. Also, Redbud Financial has been a blessing for many people to get low interest loans and stuff. Of course, the USDA helps with some of the homes as well, with people getting like loans and everything who are low income. it's just been a blessing. I would love to see something like that implemented across the whole nation. I'm happy with it right now, being in our region of Appalachia. I would like to see it grow more.
Well,
but funding is the thing that we all need. It takes money to build homes, and
that's one of the things you have to ask about. You mentioned that it is nationwide, and I agree with that. But a lot of the issue that you have nationwide is less about area and place to develop, and more about regulation stopping housing and development. Here in Eastern Kentucky, one of the things that's here in Eastern Kentucky, housing and regulation issues aren't really an issue. So you have to wonder how come there isn't more development and more building in this area.
That's a good question right there. I thought about that also, but then I look at, also it takes land. You have to make sure that you have the land, and a lot of the land that we had that would have been great for building on, end up getting flooded out because the flood hit, and it flooded in places that's never flooded before. So finding the right land to build on has really been a challenge when it comes to affordable housing, and that's the thing right there. I feel like, if the flood didn't happen the way it happened, we would have had more land available, but also, like you mentioned before, the spur of the housing market in our area as far as affordable housing wouldn't have kicked off.
What do you
fast, without the flood? So there's those points to it also.
Yeah. What do you think about the mountaintop initiative, where people are starting to build on these mountaintops that have been cleared off, and mountaintop removal sites, stuff like that? That's a lot of open land up there.
Well, I'm not a big fan of mountaintop removal. Our water system and environment, I am an environmental justice warrior when it comes to that. So I'm not a fan of mountaintop removal. But I look at our beautiful mountains and watching the tops of them getting chopped off. It's kind of heartbreaking, and so I'm not a big fan of it. But for the sites that's already been cleared off, I look at, there's an opportunity for growth there. So if somebody sees that opportunity, then I'm all right with it.
I got to say I'm with you on that one. I don't like the idea of the slurry and the water damage or mountaintop removal, but if the mountaintop has already been chopped off.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of abandoned strip mines, things of that nature. I mean, for my sector, when I worked in the energy part, I think there's opportunities for solar farms, things of that nature, in land that's already there. And see, my biggest concern is when you get into renewables is if you were to build communities, in those regions, in those areas, you would have an opportunity to almost supply the energy needs for building housing and stuff like that, being based on reclaimed land and territory from the past and all that kind of stuff. So, we always have a certain idea about coal, and then we have a certain bunch that, with environmentalists and all that kind of deal. And I think it goes back to, like we've been discussing all night, the ability to know what our problem is, the ability to work on a problem, but it's good to have those solutions. Opportunities of people from different sectors working together to be able to make it work. Like you said, we're not going to go and chop all the mountaintops off of the beautiful mountains we got, but there's a lot out there right now that probably could be utilized in a very positive way for housing or for even energy generation, really.
I think in this area, this is just me speaking personally, I think in this area, the diehard coal supporters, I think that generation has come and gone at this point. I mean, the generation like my generation, I grew up working on coal trucks when I was around 14 years old, but even at that time, that was the back end of that. So, I'm close to in my 40s at this point. I never actually saw the coal boom, so I have no strong love for it like a lot of people that pay for their family's education and put their kids through school with it and stuff like that. And I think here in Eastern Kentucky, you're seeing that the love for the diehard feeling for where coal, no matter what, is kind of waning at this point.
Yeah, I think that, coal has always been, a big topic for Eastern Kentucky, and what it's been able to do as far as the energy goes. But we went through a sequence there, just like what you said, Cody, a few years that, coal production was down, but actually within the last 4 years, coal production in Kentucky has been, great and leaping ahead because the metallurgical coal. Before we didn't go down too deep to get all that low, sulfur coal and all that kind of stuff. And now miners are coming in and utilizing some of the resources, guys, that we had, going deeper, but they're able where, we may pay $40, $50, $60 a ton of coal, back in the heyday, high sulfur coal, which, power plants, didn't have a problem doing. But metallurgical is low in sulfur, and that's what steel plants use. So now we're seeing a lot of our product here by going deeper into deeper seams and veins and all that. So there's still that aspect, of coal, and I see a lot of outside companies coming in utilizing some of our people to go deeper because they may spend $140 a ton now, but at least they're able to have some jobs in that industry and stuff. So,
well, my point really is, though, I think the diehard, everybody I know, everybody I'm related to, my whole family works in the coal mines. Generation is kind of waning at this point. The concept, for example, like I said, I'm close to in my 40s at this point, and I never really saw the coal boom. I never had a huge amount of family that was a part of the coal boom. I have no strong. What we want to see people of my generation is, okay, what is the plan for economic development past this point? We are well past this point now. It's time we start making a plan.
Well, we were blessed with the opportunity. We don't want to get away from Daryl here.
No,
we want him to jump in there, but coal is always going to be a part of Eastern Kentucky, I think, one way or the other, but it's not going to be anywhere near what it was before.
Historically,
I think generations and stuff have seen that. But in the coal business, because my family was in it from the beginning, and you saw mountaintops and you saw valleys, and that's the way it was. Well, I think there are now things, much like you said, technology and things like that nature, broadband that's coming into our area. We look at things, it's nice to be able to have a straight, flat line where you know that, hey, I'm going to have this economy, it's going to be right here, we're going to be able to flow through, where coal was so up and down, you're either great or it was, you were in the pits and all that for a while. But what do you think about, D, things in the future as far as economic development for us here in Eastern Kentucky? Do you see a focus in a new industry in a different direction? A lot of people say that broadband is, Eastern Kentucky is one of the best places to have it. Have you seen that down Hazard way? Because, Hazard at one time and Pike County were two of the big coal producers really in Eastern Kentucky. Do you see that shift to something else there?
Now, I would like to preface that question by saying, me personally, instead of consolidating in one industry the way all of Eastern Kentucky did with coal, I would like to see more diversification. To where we have multiple industries coming in. That way, if one industry were to get sick and die off, it's not wiping out the entire economy.
That's right. I agree with that. What do you think, D?
Hey, I agree with that as well, Cody. That's a good segue to what I was going to say about having people cross-train to do other things, because we know coal is not a renewable resource. Once it's gone, it's gone. So we have to have a plan in place to keep our economy growing, to keep our economy booming. I'm a big component when it comes to economic development, and I see people starting to go out now and get some different training at our technical college that we have here in Hazard. Whether it's lineman training, whether it's CDL, whether it's welding, people are starting to get cross-trained with different stuff because, we want to be prepared. So it's something that we encourage people. Always have a backup plan, a plan B, just in case, because we never know what's going to happen. Tomorrow's never promised to any of us. And to talk about some of those strip mines and that's already there, it would be great for solar. Some kind of renewable energy plants could be there. That will bring in more jobs. I looked at the North Fork River several times, and I thought, well, it'd be good to put a hydroelectric dam at some point into the river there. That's going to create energy for our area. And also look at our infrastructure here. Our infrastructure is outdated.
Yeah.
That's across the United States.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yes, and it needs to be updated and it needs to be reworked. And that's all part of the economic development, which I've seen a lot of growth in the last few years here in Eastern Kentucky, and I'm pleased with it. I want to see more. I want to see it to continue to grow. I want to see more, like you mentioned before, diversity in our areas, which we know that, diversity is very broad. It's not just black and white. Diversity with our food, diversity with our language, diversity with our people. Mm-hmm. It's just different. It's not just black and white. And we all come together and show people that we are a diverse region. Whether it's us, up in the mountains doing whatever, being us, having a good time, relaxing, and enjoying each other's company, and just talking about various issues. We all may not be on the same page, but we all can come together as one.
I think that's key. Out of everything you said there, I think one of the key things that you said was you were talking about diversity, and you were talking about diversity of race, of thought, of economic of all of that. And I absolutely agree that diversity is key. But then you also want to, because you mentioned earlier in the conversation how Appalachia is basically its own culture. Mm-hmm. So diversity, and then you come together. So diversity and assimilation at the same time. We come together and we lift everyone up in the community together. So we diversify with thought, race, stuff like that, but then we come together as a community and lift everyone up. And I say this during pretty much every podcast. John F. Kennedy said, a rising tide raises all ships.
Mm-hmm. I call it Mamaw and Papaw politics, D. In the old days when you had Papaw out in a tobacco patch or this and that, and somebody's neighbor's barn burnt down or whatever, well, we picked up the hammers and went over and built that sucker back. And whenever there's somebody that's in the ditch or this and that or whatever, we were the type of people in Eastern Kentucky, and that's why that we started this podcast. We want people to know that there are people like you out there, and hopefully like Cody and I here, trying to encourage that coming together. Yeah, we may be a diverse culture or different things and different backgrounds, but when it comes right down to it, Eastern Kentuckians are Eastern Kentuckians, and they do stand together. It doesn't have to be a situation in crisis. And one of the things that hits me so hard is I remember those days when I was a youngster growing up, and I remember my grandparents about how everybody took care of each other. And I think we as a country, and even as a state or a commonwealth here, kind of gotten away from that. So it's always great to hear some new, fresh blood, I guess, feel the same way, that you do and things. What about tourism? Is tourism taking off in Hazard? That's one of the things with the Dawson Trail up here and things, and we've got a lot of outstaters coming in with their ATVs and all that. Has that really caught on down in the Hazard area, or what's tourism doing for you all down in Hazard and Perry County?
Well, I will say this. Tourism has increased since I've been living here, and and that's a lot to do with a lot of the festivals that we have, like the North Fork Music Festival. The Art Alliance has brought in tons of people from all over the place. Our beautiful hiking trails that we have, thanks to the Pathfinders of Perry County. We have a trail system in the park, so I'm seeing a lot of new faces coming in and enjoying some of these beautiful things that we have to offer. And I see a lot of the new people coming in and deciding they're not leaving, they're going to stay here.
Yeah.
And that's really great. That's to see it grow, seeing new people move in and really contribute back to the community. There's several people I can't name just one, so I'm just gonna say there's several people that has moved in and has became part of the community, and they are quick to give back to the community. They quick to help out when and where they're needed at, and that's what we want, right? It's supposed to be for the people.
Yeah.
When you hear the Commonwealth of Kentucky, you thinking like, what does that mean? Well, it means we all come together on the common grounds and we do some really great things together.
That's right. Yeah.
We know that's not the way it is, but that's the way that we want it to be.
Right.
And that's the way that a majority of us are pushing. So, yeah, I mean, it's that just bringing people together and seeing so many new faces, like I mentioned earlier, coming into the area, and then deciding, hey, we're not leaving. It's beautiful here. You know, we can work remotely from our jobs, and they get immersed into our community, and they become part of the community along with us.
I want to touch on a couple of things, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Touch on a couple of things there.
We got about 5 or 10 minutes to go.
You mentioned remote work. Is that something that you're seeing people coming in from the outside? So, for example, a family member of mine just recently sold his house to a family from the Upper Peninsula in Michigan that have moved down here and will be working remote from home. Still working their job in Michigan. Is that something that you've seen start picking up in your area as well, or is it, or no?
Yes, yes, I have. I've seen that, and that's been really great because those people that are working remote and living here in our area, well, when they get paid, they're spending their money back into our communities, back into our area, and it's been really great. Like I said, just having some of these new faces here and doing things remote work has really helped increase that.
I've said many times before, there's nothing that'll make you appreciate the place where you live, because people tend to get jaded about where they live. There's nothing that'll make you appreciate the place that you live at more than someone coming in that's amazed by it. So I used to have, when I was a kid, I would have family members come down from the north where it's all flat that were just amazed by the hills and the mountains and the beauty of this area, and it would make me feel proud of being here and being in this place. We had a couple of episodes back, Zach Hall, running for state representative out of your area, on the show too, and he mentioned a downtown revitalization project that's been going on. And would you like to say anything about that?
Oh yes, our downtown. That's part of the changes I saw here, and I love it. I mean, our downtown, the coordinator Bailey has came out with a great plan, and they have implemented that plan to bring more businesses downtown, bring more people downtown. It's nice to walk down through downtown and you see so many different new businesses popping up and seeing so many people out. Because before that, you go through downtown, you really didn't see much, and now you're seeing all kinds of growth. And like I said, it feels good. From the Thursdays on the Grand. That's where the Grand Motel used to be at, that burnt down. Well, they tore it down. They have it set up now into like a venue spot, having so many people come. Enough of that now. Like I said, it feels good to walk downtown now. Before, it didn't feel all that, but now it feels really great because of the downtown revitalization that's taking place there. And like I said earlier, I think that's great for morale, it's great for the community, and it's great for the people to be able to walk around in their town and see so many great things happening. And then, of course, those new people coming in for the first time and seeing things, they're like, whoa, they're just lit up like, oh my. And they don't want to leave. So they're bringing more of their friends down to come and visit. And they're like, I didn't know all this existed. This is beautiful. I mean, so yes, that's got to do with the downtown revitalization. Has really helped attract more people to the area.
Well, Dee, I'll tell you, I am encouraged by people like you in Hazard and Perry County, and congratulations for being the incoming president for the Rotary Club. Like I said, I got the opportunity to speak to the Rotary Club down there, and it's a great bunch of people. I think you've got a lot of great things going on, like you mentioned tonight. We appreciate you taking the time to be able to share with us here on We the People of Eastern Kentucky, because I think our listeners and those that are watching tonight can see there are great things happening in Eastern Kentucky. We don't hear a whole lot about it. There are people coming to Eastern Kentucky. It's not always somebody leaving. There's a lot of good things and great things are going. And I always tell my wife about it. She gets tired of hearing it, but it's so nice to work with people that the glass is half full and not half empty. So I commend you for that, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us what's going on. I want to give you about 2 minutes to make your final pitch. If there's something that you want our viewers and our listeners out there, it can be about Hazard, about Perry County, it can be about what you're doing or whatever. But this is your 2-minute pitch here, your elevator pitch, I guess. Dee, you can share what's on your heart with our viewers and people out there. We'd love for you to kind of close it out that way.
All right. What's on my heart is this here. If you want to see some beauty and want to understand Eastern Kentucky, you need to come out and come and visit us. Give us a yell, come see us, and come and enjoy our beautiful mountains that we have. Throughout Eastern Kentucky, and people think Eastern Kentucky is not all that big. It's big, but you can come on out and enjoy it for yourself. All the way from the Red River Gorge to all the way right here in Perry County and beyond. You'd be more than welcome. So that's my pitch. I want everybody to experience what I experienced, the joy of being here in Eastern Kentucky and seeing our beautiful mountains.
Great. Well, Cody, you're going to lead us out?
All right, Dee, we're going to go ahead and let you go. We want to go ahead and thank all of our sponsors once again, all the new sponsors. Any sponsors that we have on the left side of the screen that doesn't have the new sponsors on there, we apologize for that. They'll be on there on the next episode. We want to thank all of our new sponsors and our old sponsors, Granny Made Cheesecakes, BML Business Alliance, Jessica D. Williams Photography, and so many more. All of the links for the sponsors will be available in the on the website, on the Facebook page, and so on and so forth. Dee, we absolutely appreciate you speaking with us. Thanks for that 2-minute pitch, and we go ahead and expect that I'll be coming to Hazard really soon to check out that downtown revitalizations, because I would like to see something like that. McGoffin County's been making strides, but we want to see something like that happen a little more. We would like to see more of the mom and pop shops open up and less of the chain stores, and get back to everybody wants to live in the beautiful little downtown with the little outside shops. So. Terry, I think that's it for me.
Well, I guess that's all for us tonight, y'all. We, the people of Eastern Kentucky, thanks so much to Dee for being able to be our special guest tonight. And we thank you for listening. Please give us your feedback, because we've got the fourth week of each month coming, and that's you asked for it. And so we need your feedback on emails and this and that you can communicate with us. But for my lovely co-host here, Cody, and myself, we want to thank you so much for your support. And throughout the rest of this week, we hope that you have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
And folks, if you don't care, tune in next week. We will be spotlighting a local writer spotlight. Brandon Napier will be joining us.
Good.
He is quite a wonderful poet. We put out an article at Local Writer Spotlight at Appalachia Insider. Go check that out. See some of his work. We look forward to talking to him as well.
And you got another one coming too, DJ?
Yes, DJ Timmy will be coming the week after that. We got some great guests coming up. Stick with us and enjoy the show.
Well, folks, that'll be us for tonight. So we, the people of Eastern Kentucky, keep it out there and keep it strong. We wish you a good night, and God bless.
Thank you, D.